All right, let's dive right in. We're looking at a really fascinating piece of analysis today that suggests we are right on the edge of a massive, massive shift in the crypto markets. And it all boils down to one huge question. Is a historical signal flashing right now that points to a monster breakout for altcoins? Let's take a look.
You know, you hear statements like this, and this one comes straight from the source material. It's bold, for sure, but it really captures the high stakes of what we're talking about. The whole idea here is that moments just like the one we're in right now are precisely where those kinds of life-changing opportunities have come from in the past.
So, according to this analysis, this isn't just another boring week in the market. No, we've apparently hit a really critical turning point. What happens next could seriously set the tone for the entire altcoin cycle. It could unleash this huge wave of capital, or, the opposite. It's a pivotal moment for sure.
So what is all this based on? I mean, where's this idea coming from? Well, it all comes down to a single, incredibly powerful indicator, one that has, in the past, basically acted as the starting gun for altcoin season. Let's talk about Bitcoin dominance.
So what exactly is it? It's actually pretty simple. If you take all the money in the entire crypto market, every single coin, Bitcoin dominance just tells you what percentage of that total value is locked up in Bitcoin. It's basically Bitcoin's market share of the whole crypto world.
Right, but why should you care? Well, this one little number tells a huge story. See, when Bitcoin dominance goes down, it means money is flowing out of Bitcoin and into all the other coins, the altcoins. And when it goes up, that capital is flowing back into the relative safety of Bitcoin. It's like the tide of the entire crypto ocean.
And okay, this is where it gets really compelling. To understand why today's chart is causing such a stir, we've got to look back. You've heard the saying, right? History doesn't always repeat. But in this case, the argument is that it rhymes in a very specific and potentially very profitable way.
And this just lays the pattern out perfectly. Twice in recent history, we've seen this exact sequence play out. Back in 2017, dominance hit a critical low. And what came next? A legendary altcoin rally. Then, in 2021, same thing. Dominance hits that same floor, and bam, a second major rally. Which of course brings us to today.
So let's zoom in on that first one, 2017. That was a huge moment. People felt like Bitcoin had gotten too expensive, so capital started hunting for the next Bitcoin. And that search for the next big thing caused dominance to just plummet. It was like a dam breaking, unleashing a flood of cash into the altcoin market. Now, let's fast forward to 2021, and you'll see why this is so interesting. This wasn't some one-off fluke. 4 years later, the market structure just repeated itself. Dominance fell right back down to that same floor, signaling that the appetite for risk was back. And just like clockwork, another explosive altcoin season kicked off.
Which brings us right here to this moment. So with that historical blueprint burned into our minds, what happens when we pull up the chart for today? Well, honestly, it is really hard not to feel a powerful sense of déjà vu.
And here it is. This is the whole thesis in a single picture. The Bitcoin dominance chart, for the third time, has come all the way down and has touched the exact same historical support level. The same level that kicked off the two previous epic altcoin bull runs. This chart just makes the comparison crystal clear. We're not talking about a vague similarity here or something that kinda looks the same. No. The levels we're seeing right now are directly comparable to the absolute cycle bottoms of 2017 and 2021. From a historical point of view, the setup is practically identical.
Okay, so the chart is set. The historical precedent seems pretty clear. So what does this all mean? What does it actually imply, according to this analysis? Well, it points to a theory about a massive and possibly imminent movement of money.
This analysis really boils it all down into a super simple three-step formula. Step 1, Bitcoin dominance hits its historical low. Check, that just happened. Step 2, capital begins to rotate out of Bitcoin. And step 3 is the explosive result. The altcoin breakout gets started.
The core idea here is that all this capital is just ready and waiting to move. Think of it like a liquidity flood. All these profits from Bitcoin are just sitting on the sidelines, waiting for a signal to pour into smaller, higher risk but higher reward assets. And according to this source, this chart is that signal.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway? The source is very clear on this point. This analysis suggests this is a time for strategic positioning, not a time for fear or panic selling. History shows that the biggest, craziest gains are captured by the people who position themselves near these exact cycle bottoms, right before the big move happens.
And that leaves us with the final multi-billion-dollar question. The historical pattern is undeniable. The current chart lines up perfectly with that pattern. All the pieces seem to be in place. So, the only question that's left is the one right there on your screen. Will history repeat itself for a third time?